Good morning. Last night, I did a video for the request of a student in Florida who has a horse that won't go over a tarp. She feels like she's tried everything and the horse won't go over the tarp no matter what. And I had done a short video only because my camera shut off. I had done a short video and maybe just think there's enough storage even for this. That showed my horse going, oh no, right? So my camera turned off as a result of lack of storage, and I ended up not doing any more with the video because I wanted my horse to still be scared of the tarp to a certain degree so that I can still get an appropriate video. She said that this horse was doing what her horse was, so it would be valuable to see how I go through that. So yesterday I completed that video. It's like an hour and 20, no, hour. I think the first one's an hour and 11 minutes. Second one's like a minute and 57 seconds. And the minute and 57-second one is just kind of finishing up my explanation. I'm not actually still trying to do the tarp, but it shows even after walking around and ignoring the tarp, I could just, make a left turn and go across the tarp again, and she doesn't have a lack of memory. What I wanted to say about that video, I'll link that video to this, is Katie, the horse I used, is the type of horse that will fight to the death for her cause. If she believes she's right, she will fight to the death for that cause. So when asking her to go across the tarp, she said, well, I'll go around it this way and I'll come to where you are just by going around it. And I said, but that's not an option. She says, but it's the best option for me. I said, yeah, but that's not an option. I need you to come across the tarp. And she says, but that's the best option for me. I'll just go around. And I said, but that's not how we're going to do this. She says, but yeah, I think that's how we're going to do this. So we had that kind of discussion. Well, to be honest, I didn't get as loud with her as I should have when the pattern started because I knew I was on video. Now, I don't cut anything out. You can even watch some of my videos and I'll have forgotten to even edit out conversations that take place before we even get started. And so, I mean, that's like 100%, I didn't edit anything out. But I also wouldn't edit out if I had to get really loud with my horse to make my point or to, break a pattern or whatever. But for some reason, it crossed my mind that I knew how loud I was going to have to get with her in order to effectively break that pattern that she started of saying, no, I think I'll just go this way. So I have to get loud with her for longer, okay? Which isn't what I would have wanted to do. So there is a longer correction of don't go that way. That's not what I'm asking for. And it was more because I wanted to make sure that there were no adverse reactions to how loudly I was swinging the rope. Okay. I am a strong promoter of cooperating with the horse and helping the horse's needs. My horse actually needed me to say, no, we're not doing it that way. Because she was convinced that she had a better way and I needed to listen to her. This video is a great video too because it shows where people might misunderstand the horse or might misinterpret the horse as trying when she wasn't trying. She was crossing in front of the tarp and crossing in front of the tarp and crossing in front of the tarp. No focus at all was on the tarp. She was focused on her path around it. Okay? So she was not trying. What she was trying was to find another way. She wasn't trying to do what I was asking her to do. So I kept the pressure on her when she wasn't actually trying to figure out how to go across the tarp. That, I think, is where sometimes people get in trouble, is because they think as long as the horse is dancing around in front of it, they're trying. They misinterpret what trying is. So she showed good examples of I'm not trying, but somebody might think I'm trying. And then examples of when she did, okay, yeah, I'm going to give this a try. She's actually probably the best video you could watch if you were looking to see how do I handle a horse that says absolutely not, I'm not doing it. Because there's so many different things she did. She went into a like a catatonic state. She like decided she's just going to freeze, and she laid her head kind of onto the rope, like, you know, there was tension on the line, and she just like laid her head on the rope and just froze. So now what do? Well, you get them broken out of that, because otherwise you're going to have a standoff where you think you're just having a stubborn horse, but she just went to sleep. So she did that twice. I haven't done it 3 times. She did it twice for sure. And I mention it in the video, like, nope, can't let her get into that state. She can't disappear on us mentally. She goes through a long phase of saying, I'm just going to go around it. And I said, but I don't want you to go around it. She's like, but I am just going to go around it. Like, there's a perfect path over here. I'm just going to go around it. And that was like almost a mother-daughter teenage relationship happening there. So I had to be a stronger leader and say, I recognize that there is a perfect path over there, that you could just go around it. I recognize that, but that's not what we're doing. So all of that was not her trying. All of that was her trying something she wanted to do, not something I wanted her to do. There were a couple times where she like held her breath and said, okay, I'm going to give it a try. I mentioned those times. I'm going to try to go back on the video and find the places, and I'll timestamp them so you can see for yourself. Maybe I'll put it on like I have like that iMovie on my computer. Maybe I'll, you know, take those clips and I'll enhance those clips, like zoom in and enhance those clips for you, so you can see exactly, because I know what she'd said. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you, she just told me. She just told me she's willing to try. She just told me she's willing to try from a different angle. There was a time where she said, I'm going to keep doing it my way over here, but if you take me to a different angle, I think I'll give a fresher look at this. Did she say all those words? Of course not. But what she told me was, I would be willing to give it a try with a fresher look. She told me when she was ready to try if I went with her. And then I even say in the video, like, yeah, now that she's willing to cross it this way, this way, this way, this way, this way with me, my goal before I quit tonight is to go back to what I originally wanted to do. I originally wanted to stand beside the tarp and say, could you please go over this tarp? And have her say, sure, no problem. I'd love to do that for you. At the end of the video, yes, that's what we do. She is an absolute perfect example of all the things the horses try to do. And she's a perfect example of looking like she's trying, but isn't actually trying. She's a perfect example of when she does try. Maybe I'll be able to zoom in on her or something to show you when that change happened. Because the try is what you have to nurture. You have to harness that try. And sometimes that try is only for a split second. You have to say, okay, I'm here. Let's work on it together now. You know, when she wasn't trying, we weren't working together. When she wasn't trying, she was working against me. But when she was willing to try, I had to harness that moment. The video is very long. I always tell people, don't do tarp exercises. Don't do scary object exercises unless you have at least 2 hours. It may not take you 2 hours. I did 2 videos prior to that, hoping I would have 2 horses that have never seen a tarp. Katie's seen a tarp before, but horses who had never seen a tarp. And I thought for sure we would have long videos, and it was like 30 seconds, and they both said, sure, whatever you want, lady. And it might be different because Katie trusts me, but Katie also has been allowed to have her own voice. And the 2 that I tried were my mom and baby. And mom is just desperate to make a connection now. She wants a connection, where before she didn't want a connection, but she'd go anywhere you point her. And she's still kind of that way. So she kind of said, if you say so, and you know, where you want me to go, just point, right? And she did. So both of those videos were like under 5 minutes, from like start to finish. So if you have the time and you're interested in watching how a horse processes a tarp, Katie went through everything. She begged for mercy. She shows us a mercy sign. You know, she spooked. She thought to rear. She thought to do things. So there's just so many things that she did in that video that are like perfect if you're looking for a video to show how to recognize when they're trying, how to recognize when they're not trying, how to recognize behavior that you need to interrupt the pattern of, because otherwise you're like, so for example, like she was convinced she could go around it, and that was something that I didn't interrupt early enough, so it became a pattern. Usually if a horse does something twice, if you allow that third time, it's a pattern, and now you have to break the pattern. Now you have to figure out where, you know, when like where the beginning of the pattern is, so that you can get ahead of that. Like if the beginning of her pattern was this lean, but I waited until she actually took a step, I'm not ahead of the pattern. So then I'm going to fight with her to get her to stop doing what she already set out to do. So my goal is to get ahead of that lean, right? And it's subtle. So like, and sometimes it's okay to let a horse kind of develop a pattern so you can find where the pattern starts. Where does the action begin? So if I'm asking her to go and she goes, huh, and it starts off with like a tip of the head before the lean, well, I have to get ahead of the tip of the head. I have to say, that's not what we're doing. And that's usually all it takes to say, no. You want to just interrupt their thought, as opposed to having to get loud like I did to interrupt the action. I want to interrupt the thought, not the action. So it shows kind of where I start to tell her, no, that's not what we're doing. Don't think that. And then when she would square up, I would say, now, okay, please. Hopefully this video really shows a lot of the good stuff that you can, that she did a lot of good stuff. So hopefully this video is clear in showing all that good stuff. And I hope it's helpful to somebody who's working with a scary object. Sometimes it's a puddle, a stream, a tarp, a concrete pad at the beginning of their barn that the horse, you know, like if somebody just poured like a concrete pad in front of their barn, the horse won't cross it. There's, you know, or, you know, just whatever. If the horse won't cross something with their feet, this is a really good video to help show how you would manage that, and to recognize for sure when a try is actually happening about what you're doing, or what they're trying is about what they want to do. So I hope you enjoy it.